Aargau Topsport und Tele1 präsentieren die 21. Ausgabe vom Baden Masters vom 20. bis zum 22. August. Die amtierende Olympiasiegerin bei den Damen, Anna Hasselborg aus Schweden, fordert die Herren-Weltelite raus. Das hat es noch nie gegeben. Können die amtierenden Herren-Weltmeister aus Schweden ihren Titel verteidigen? Wie halten die Schweizer Top-Teams mit? Girling-Weltklasse der Damen und der Herren direkt vor der Haustür. Das Baden Masters wird präsentiert vom Swisslo Sportfonds Aargau, V-Zug, dem Schweizer Haushaltsgerätehersteller und der Walde Immobilien AG, die Mensch und Immobilien zusammenbringen.
Ja, vielleicht ein bisschen. Rent, bra Costa. 10-2.
To dårlige slider.
Dis?
Har du lyst til å prøve?
Hæ?
Har ikke lyst til å prøve?
Dis, de ser mer som Sofia.
De siste, og så ruller jo så lavt at det bare henger mest. Ruller akkurat ut, og så, ja.
To dårlige slider. Første var helt grufull.
Easy, easy. Ça c'est bien, wow. Easy. C'est bien.
Steinlinja på den andre var egentlig bra, da.
Juste nettoyer. Ja. Okay.
Vanlig ut der, eller? Skal ikke splitte så mye på den
Good
siden.
afternoon, curling fans. We're back again here at the WCT Masters event in Baden. It's the first event of the European curling calendar for season 21 to 22. My name is Lorna Rettig, and I will be hosting us through our featured game at lunchtime today here in Europe, which is two well-known names in curling, and that is Team Stefan Walstad from Norway against Team Peter de Cruz from the Geneva Club in Switzerland. You join us in the first end.
Bra.
And pretty conservative start from both teams. Walstad's team is playing Yellowstones. De Cruz's team playing red.
Litt tight på den nå.
The men in black
Liksom ikke helt å få den ut.
have their first outing for this weekend at this lunchtime draw. They had a bye this morning. So this is our first time to see what kind of form de Cruz is in at the moment. Nothing difficult there for Bannwart Schwartz.
Mais franchement, ça va droit. Oui, c'est sûr.
And you may just have caught a glimpse on the right-hand side of your screen the very familiar face of five-time world champion Niklas Edin. They play Team Totzek from Germany, and it is also Team Edin's first outing for this weekend's curling. They also had the morning off. We have four groups of 5 teams in the competition this weekend, and that means that every team has one session off. Team Walstad, they had an early start at 8 o'clock this morning. They played the Swiss team Huerlimann, and they had a comfortable win actually. It was 8-3 against Team Huerlimann in 6 ends. So Team Walstad should be feeling quite good about going into this game against Peter de Cruz. I never know which is the advantage. So you could say that the Norwegians have had the advantage because they've got the feel of the ice. They've already had a game under their belt, but you might think that maybe Team Peter de Cruz is maybe a little bit fresher because they haven't played already. So maybe they've got a little bit more energy for those 8th end final stone sweeps. But both of these teams really at the top of the game. They will have been keeping themselves fit and practicing all summer. So I don't think there'll be much difference between these two teams today.
C'est très proche. Très proche. Petite chance, mais je crois que c'est dedans, mais
So we'll say hello to the teams in a minute,
je pense que c'est dedans.
but I can also just tell you who else is on just now. On sheet 1, we have Team Huerlimann against Team Pfister. And Team Pfister, that's the same team that we've been watching last season with the brothers Jungen,
Den er bra.
Mark Pfister and
Her er fint.
Simon
Ja, det er
Gempler.
litt bra.
They've had a bit of just a reshuffle of roles there, but it's that same team entered in this competition as Team Pfister. Our featured game here is Team Walstad against Team de Cruz. And next door,
C'est 15-3.
you'll have caught a bit of a glimpse already. We have Team Totzek from Germany against Team Edin from Sweden. And our last game on sheet 4, it's a little bit later to get going because of the extra end in the previous round. It's a very tight schedule, so as I said, extra end's only really popular with the team that needed it. That's the game again from the third team from Norway, Team Nedregotten against Team Schori from Switzerland.
Jeg tror han var der, liksom.
As I said, that game on sheet 4 just beginning now. Everybody just
Vanlig.
getting their brushes out and having a practice slide, so they're a little bit behind, but we'll keep eyes on them as well. So back to the second end here in our featured game, Team Walstad against Team de Cruz. For the sake of completeness, let's introduce the teams, even though I'm sure they need very little introduction. So from Norway, we have Team Walstad.
Markus.
That's Skip, and fourth player is Stefan Walstad in the house just now, as we see with his hat on. Third thrower is Torger Nergård.
9-7.
Second thrower Marcus Heuberg, and lead thrower Magnus Våberg. And if you joined us earlier on today at the 10:30 draw, we watched Team Hoesli from Glarus Club here in Switzerland and Team Ramsfjell from Norway. And Lorna's battle with the Norwegian language is ongoing. So thank you for all of our Scandinavian viewers for helping us out with those pronunciations. I know how annoying it must be when someone says your name wrong all the time. So welcome Team Walstad. If you joined us last year, maybe you remember that our Norwegian teams weren't able to travel last year, and we're delighted to have 3 Norwegian teams in the competition this year. We've already watched one of them this morning, Team Ramsfjell. They had a handy win over Team Hoesli, close game, but I would say Team Ramsfjell were on top of that all the way. So now we've got the chance to watch Team Walstad, and they are playing Team de Cruz, who need, again, very little introduction. Fourth thrower, Bannwart Schwartz. Third thrower, Sven Michael. Second and skip is Peter de Cruz, and lead thrower, Valentin Tanner. Conservative start from both teams.
10-7 var det.
Not too many stones in play.
C'est possible, split ou? Ouais. 9. Il faut être sûr de rester, hein. Ouais, exact. Il n'y a aucune raison de prendre un risque. 13,5.
Looks like Peter de Cruz was maybe still eating his lunch when the game started. Looks like they're only... Oh no, he's there now. Benoit was holding the brush for Valentin's first couple of shots. But it looks like we've found Peter de Cruz again. If you're just joining us, we're in the second end of our featured game here at the Baden Masters, the first WCT Tour event of the 21 to 22 season here in Europe. Welcome, welcome. How have you been? How's your summer been? What are you looking forward to this season?
No.
Is your club able to play? Hopefully getting back to curling. Here's a nice shot from de Cruz. Just splitting that red in, so now he's lying to... Walstad won't be too worried about that. They have last shot, because they had the better last shot draw after their first game. So you can see the hammer there against Walstad's name.
Yep.
Samme fart.
Blank end in the first one. I was going to say typical at this level, but getting a little bit less frequent now that we play 5 stones for the free guard zone instead of 4.
Ta det litt... Det var ikke mye køl her.
And at the moment, this end has Stefan Walstad drawing for 1 at the end with his last shot, provided nobody else misses, of course. First look then at Sven Michael, third thrower with Peter de Cruz's team. He's been asked for T-weight, just the same as the stone on the left side of our screen. And that's running a little bit high, but should be hanging on, I think. Yep. So red line 2. There's a massive across the house double. Yeah, I think it's only the second end. I don't think we need to go for that, but yeah, this is a nice gutsy call, Stefan. He wants to freeze onto the nose of that red, try to give himself a chance to score. Maybe as well. As I said, at the moment, because Peter de Cruz is keeping 2 reds in play and they're very wide apart, very difficult double at the moment, Stefan Walstad he's being forced to draw for 1 shot all day with his last stone, so they may as well try this freeze. See if they can get a bit of a mistake from de Cruz in the second end and maybe give themselves a chance to score 2 with last stone.
Linja kommer seg. Limen på.
And they've made it very nicely. They may have wanted it to just curl a little bit more. I don't see a big hitter like Sven Michael having much trouble just springing out both of these stones. He doesn't mind that he'll spring out his own stone. But may as well keep plugging away with freezing these stones that de Cruz is leaving him. So I guess that Stefan will, yep, he's pointing to the same shot again. And Torger Nergard has had a look at that shot already. Although we always do say in curling, the most difficult shot is same again, please.
Linja bra.
Ja, jeg tror jeg er ganske lik.
7 perfekt.
Kjente det kanskje litt hardere ut.
Very familiar face.
Kjente det litt hardere ut. Ingen linje.
His photo is in our program from 2014 when Team Olsrud won this competition. That team not playing together anymore, but Torger still active with Stefan's team. I think occasionally I've seen them play with Thomas Olsrud as well. Stefan's young team really gaining from all that winning experience that Torger brings. Just overthrew that shot a little bit, Torger. That was a little bit higher than his first shot and it just bounced off that red. But to be honest, either way, even if he'd really stuck that frozen stone, then Schwartz would be taking a run at it and trying to remove that yellow. First throw here then of his weekend for fourth thrower Bannwart Schwartz.
Jeg følte han var litt hardere satt, men ikke så mye hardere liksom. Den var jo solid igjennom. Forrige måtte de jobbe med.
It sounds like a gentle takeout. They're calling it about 10 seconds. Nice controlled takeout.
Hva tenker du?
And they're happy for that red to hang around. The more reds hanging around, the more pressure there is on Stefan Walstad when it comes to his last shot.
Må fort dra etterpå på neste rekord. Ikke prøve å dra hit.
Ja, bare om det var noen annen plass som skulle låse seg, men det er jo der og små.
Da får du ikke toppen. Da får du treeren liksom. Eller toeren da.
Noe sånt? Like det?
Ja.
But same idea for Stefan. He may as well try to freeze that back one. He wants to get exactly to the nose of that stone, right in front of that red that's in the middle of our screen near the centre line. And if he gets it perfectly, it should be very difficult for Bannwart to move the yellow that's coming, and that's why he's keeping on trying it. He may as well. As I said, there are a couple of reds hanging around anyway, and there is certainly no easy double there, so it was always looking like Stefan was going to have to draw with his last shot, and may as well try and make an opportunity of that. Actually, Torgeir Nørgaard has won this competition twice, not only in 2014 but also in 2008.
Linja bra. Linja bra. Ja, ja, bra. Ja, på linje. Ja, på linje. Hard på linje. Hard.
So again, really nice effort. You can see how precise that freeze has to be. It cannot be too long, it cannot be too short, it can't be a bit wide, and it can't be a bit narrow. That's why the freeze is genuinely the most difficult shot in curling, because there is no space for any error at all. So good effort from Stefan, but I don't see Benny Schwartz having much difficulty removing this yellow. So bigger weight coming this time, make sure the yellow moves. And he's got the red behind it, so he wants to just make sure he springs the whole lot. And that's exactly where we thought Stefan's last stone might be excuse me, Stefan's last stone might be heading. It would be very foolish to attempt a double takeout there. He may as well pick up that 1 point.
Så langt unna kicket kanskje, men jeg kneksa på den nok så hardt.
Peter de Cruz's team, they will be pretty happy with that start. They really kept the pressure on the Norwegians. They didn't really give Walstad's team much of a chance to build an end there. I don't see Stefan missing this, but they will be a little bit disappointed that they're giving up last stone with only 1 point instead of more than that. And actually, they're all standing off it. They are all on its own. Oh boy. Oh, Stefan. It's a big mistake there. That just kept, had a lot of running. That just kept going, that stone. So that's a big steal of 2 for Peter de Cruz in that first end. Almost like a steal of 2 for free there. I'm sure they're a wee bit surprised that that just ran on that Norwegian stone. They were quite happy to just force the Norwegians to take 1 point, but they're also pretty happy to steal 2. So head up, Stefan. Plenty ends left.
5, 6.
Ok. La vitesse. 5, ça suffit. Hein.
6, 5.
They're calling 5, 6. De Cruz's team using the zoning system. So 5, 6, as far as I understand, would typically be, yeah, because I'm very old, I would say top 8 foot or top 4 foot. So it just ran on. That would probably be in zone 7, which is exactly on the T line. And if you use that zoning system, the way it works is if you're calling out number 1, you want it to just cross over the hog line. Number 2 is halfway between the hog line and the rings. Number 3 is a guard that's just short of the rings. 4 is in the red circle. 5, the white 8 foot. 6 is the front of the 4 foot. 7 is right in the middle. And then 8, 9, 10 are the back rings. So some teams use that. I think it was a bit more fashionable about 10 years ago. Different ways of aligning on where you want the stone to be, or how you're communicating with the skip as you're sweeping. And whatever works for you, really. As I said, I'm very old, so I typically still call where I think the stone's going to land, so a tight guard or front ring or T-line. But my ladies team, actually, they're all a lot younger than me, so they use the numbers, so I'm trying to get better with that as well.
Hold i gang, Markus, ja. Litt tight. Bare fart.
Again, this classic setup for 5 rock rule. We saw the Cruz go straight into the house, red right near the middle with his first shot. Guarded it with the second shot, and in the old times, in 4 rock rule, Bannwart Schwartz would surely remove that corner guard. Not allowed to anymore, and he's going to play a more aggressive stone, put another red in the house.
Jeg tipper det 15 i hvert fall. Ganske mye annerledes enn første kampen.
Ok, juste Val. Ligne bien, Val devant. C'est proche. Attention, oui. Ok, ligne bien. C'est proche, hein.
C'est proche, ouais.
Toujours devant, Val. C'est très proche de la garde. Ouais. Val, oui. Oui. Alors, Free, c'est très bien. Free, c'est parfait. Go, 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 go.
Alt.
Tror hun går under der.
7. La 7 elle tire plus, mais 8 c'est aussi plus straight que les autres ou... Pas forcément. Ah oui. On sait pas trop. Peut-être qu'ils jouent un peu comme ça aussi.
Ja. Wow.
Huh? So free guard zone's over. And now Walstad has to start moving those red zones around a bit. So that's a decent result. He's moved the guard, and now it's a yellow that he'd be driving back onto that red, so that's a nice result. You really have to have nice consistent players in your middle order for this new 5-rock style of play that we've adapted to for this Olympic cycle. So you really have to have good courage. You still put out your corner guard, you still draw a shot in behind it, but you have to have good nerves there, because you are going to be looking at 3 opposition stones in the middle. So you really need your middle order, your second thrower, and maybe your third thrower to be confident with removing these guards.
Han gjør nesten det hvis du 3/4, så går han fort hit.
Ja. Hva vanlig, eller noe sånt?
Ja, jeg tenkte 8 eller pil.
Okay.
I think we do need a peel.
Ja, vil du ha, Markus? Ja. Ikke nok så rett her.
If Walstad wants to score anything this end, he needs a bit of space to do it.
Well,
I think this lines up pretty nicely.
okay.
To get the pair of them, and maybe even... Does he hang on to that shooter? He does. That's not a bad result.
Han visste også kølla, ja.
Le tiers, je pense que ça marche aussi. Hein.
Ja, det var jo...
Tu veux jouer moins
utenfor der
vite
kosten
Moi,
sto,
j'aime
da.
bien moins vite pour garder le shooter si tu le fais pas.
You can hear Peter de Cruz speaking in French. They're from the Geneva club in Switzerland, and that is the French-speaking part of Switzerland. One of our teams is also from Lausanne club, and we'll hear them speaking French as well. Most of our Swiss teams are Swiss-German speaking.
Ouais, peut-être.
I'm not sure I've ever happened upon an Italian or a Romansh speaking Swiss team. Those are the other 2 official languages here in Switzerland. So going for the double here, Sven Michael, he's a big hitter. But he's jammed that one, so that's given a chance now to Walstad.
6.
That's exactly what he was waiting for. Sven Mikkel will be a bit disappointed with that. That was a very makeable shot for someone of his standard.
Linja bra.
So this is the chance they were looking for, but now this has to be a good shot. This is what you'll sometimes hear called a junior 2. Stefan Walstad, he is just going to keep putting his 2 yellows as wide apart as he can, and ideally exactly level. And I think Torgeir Nergård has just about done that. So no double available for Sven Mikkel this one. And the reason we call this a junior 2 is because it's just very straightforward. You get a miss from your opposition, which Stefan Walstad did, and then you just draw the other side of the house and you keep on doing that. It's very simple. It's the easiest way to make 2 points. And I'm sure Stefan Walstad will gratefully accept. Now what Peter de Cruz is trying to do, he is trying to get that red thrown closer and closer to the other yellow, so that hopefully he can then get a bit of a mistake and bad shot placement from the Norwegians instead.
Rent, linja bra. Litt opp. Rent. Japp, 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 japp. Hard. Hard. Hard.
That controlled rate again, important this yellow hangs around. They'd have rather it rolled the other way, so you can see that yellow is creeping towards the yellow on the left side.
On essaie de rouler quand même ou?
Oui, oui, c'est clair. Bien sûr, pour les centerline. Ouais.
Yeah, you may as well try this. Get that red nice and close to the other yellow. And now try to tempt Norway into a mistake. The idea here then, I don't think they're going for the double. It's still really quite a difficult double. What they're going for is to remove that yellow. You'll see Bannwart Schwartz playing a controlled weight. This won't be too big. And try to roll over and get as close as you can to that other yellow to try to force Norway into getting a bit of a mistake. A simple looking but rather more complicated shot there though. So he didn't quite get the roll. And that leaves Stefan Walstad a really happy chance to scoot that red out, roll over to the right of our screen, challenge Bannwart Schwartz to a huge double, and hopefully pick up 2. But first things first, let's get this shot right. So Torgeir Nergård, very experienced at the vice skip position. He played vice skip with Thomas Olsrud's team for many years.
Rent. Rent. Hvem rent?
Rent.
Magnus.
Wow! Markus!
Magnus.
I think he's got it this time. And that roll away to the side, really nice shot there. Peter de Cruz could try the same again, or a similar idea, but he's doing it the opposite way, so yeah, just make sure that nearer yellow goes, the one that's closer to the centre line, the one in front of Peter de Cruz, and just try to roll halfway behind that yellow so that the red would still be shot, and make it hard for Walstad to remove it. I think that's more likely to come off than a huge across the house double. So that controlled weight again. Again, doesn't quite get the roll. But I think that red might be just out counting that yellow. So well done, Norway. This is a nice response to losing that 2 by overthrowing the last shot in the second end. This is a bright response.
Vanlig går det å dø I den ytterste, men prøv å slippe. Hold den kosten ned. Jo, precis.
Anywhere on the rock.
And then we can take a look at what's going on in our other games around the sheets today.
Rent, rent! Ja!
Whoa,
Whoa, whoa, whoa!
You'll see the sweepers nice and close. They don't want to lose this yellow. Oh dear, I think they might. Oh, they were lucky that red was just a little catcher there. That was a little bit wider, I think, than they wanted. But that other red on the wing caught it nicely. So well worked 2 back there from Norway. Nice job there.
Okay.
So 2 each after 3 ends, as you were. And now for the first time in the game, we'll see what Peter de Cruz does when he has the last shot.
Sur le point là.
Ouais, exact.
Ouais, exact.
Entre les 2 points là.
Exact, ouais. Ouais, ouais, j'aime bien.
Ouais.
Totomi entre les points là, plus ou moins. J'ai cru que t'allais tomber, j'étais là.
That was just again that one miss there in the third end.
Men den grei. Linja fin.
When Sven Mikkel was going for the double, but it jammed and one of the shots stayed in. That's exactly the kind of half shot or half miss that you're looking for at this level for your opposition to try to take advantage, and Norway definitely did.
2,5-2.
If you're just joining us, we are in the the fourth end of, this is the third round of the Baden WCT Masters event
Ah, c'est un peu plus.
here in Switzerland. It's our first WCT Tour event
Ouais, c'est 3.
this season, the season 21 to 22.
Ouais, c'est bon.
And our featured game here at the lunchtime draw is Team Stefan Walstad from Norway against Team Peter de Cruz from Switzerland, and the score is 2 each. 2 big names in curling, these teams, very familiar players. So not surprising that the score is quite tight.
Non, c'est sûr que c'est rapide. Hein.
Let's say hi to Bob in the chat, he's from Canada. Thanks for joining, Bob.
Rent. Linja bra.
As I said, this is the third draw.
Rent.
So most of these teams, this is their second game today.
Oh, nei. Nei.
This half of the draw played at 8 o'clock this morning, and they will play once more at 9 o'clock this evening. Long day for them today. They've got 3 draws today.
Bra. Ropte du på meg? Jeg hørte ikke.
Un peu plus pour celle-là.
And then the other half of the draw, they played at 10:30 this morning.
Je te mets un peu plus pour celle-là.
We watched the game between Marco Hoesli's young Swiss team and Ramsfjell's young Norwegian team. That was a nice close game.
C'est bien plus. C'est bien vitesse.
Ended up in a win for the Norwegians. They were just about on top of it the whole game, I would say.
Oh. C'est bien, c'est bien. Allez.
Hæ?
So let's see what's going on the other games around the sheets today. On sheet number 1, we have 2 Swiss teams. We have Team Huerlimann against Team Pfister. And that's again a tight start. That's 1-0, 1-0 to Huerlimann after 2 ends.
Okay.
Wow, Magnus.
On sheet 3 next door, we have Team Totzek from Germany against recent world champions for the millionth time, Team Edin from Sweden. So tough day at the office for Team Totzek, but they're standing up to it so far. It's 1 each after 2 ends there.
C'est presque
And on the final sheet, we have our third Norwegian team here this weekend. That's Team Nedregotten
Ça va comme ça?
against Team Schori from Switzerland. And they started a little bit later because of the extra end in the previous draw. So they're on their second end, but that was 1 point to the Norwegians. In the first end, that's 1-0 to Nedregotten against Team Schori from Switzerland.
Bien joué. 2,5, 3.
Okay.
Bien
You
joué.
can keep up with all the scores from all the
Ouais,
draws
donc, c'était
on
vraiment
the
plein.
worldcurlingtour.org website. That's got
Je pensais pas, 5 heures et
all the
demie,
scores
bien.
from this weekend, and it will have all the scores from the other competitions, so that will be
Den er
in the
løs.
archive as well. You can go back and look at the
Bare
scores
fart.
if you want to. And worldcurlingtour.org, that has all the schedule for the men's tour, the ladies tour, the mixed doubles tour, and the wheelchair curlers tour. So lots of information there.
Hard. Hard, 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 hard. Fortsett, 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 fortsett.
This is our first event of the calendar this year
On va essayer une fois.
here in Baden, and our next event is in 2 weeks' time. We're going to the second international
Ok. Ah, si je fais ce double
WCT
verrouille,
event in Adelboden.
tout petit peu plus.
So cancel whatever you were doing in 2 weeks' time and come join us for the second event, the second round or second tour event, and the second edition of
Attention.
the Adelboden WCT international event.
Wow.
That's a screamer from Peter de Cruz, and he certainly moved all the yellows, but he has left his own red still lying fairly handily out front.
Ja.
Følger deg.
And not only can you find all the scores on the worldcurlingtour.org website, you can find all the games from this weekend. They will be in the YouTube channel. So in the video vault for this channel, you will find all the games we're watching this weekend. We're always watching, our featured game is always on sheet 2. And the static cam, it is always watching the games on sheet 3 and 4. So plenty of curling to watch. If we're not watching your favourite team here
Litt tight,
in the
faktisk.
featured game, maybe they're on the static cam.
Ja, linja er bra, den. Linja er
Maybe
bra.
you could
Må
watch
køle.
both at the same time if you
køle.
set up your iPad and your laptop simultaneously.
C'est bien.
So
Markus,
plenty of
få
curling
en
to
halsen
watch.
litt til linja. Ja.
Jag fick show, ja.
Bra spill. Bra kosta. 15 blank.
Är du klar? Okej, nu.
Nice shot there from Torger Nergård.
C'est bien, ouais.
It's certainly a tactically simple game that
Wow, wow.
we're watching at the moment.
Non.
A lot of very classic play,
Toi, va.
and that doesn't mean it's easy.
Allez, allez. Go, go, go.
Yeah, Sven just doesn't quite catch that yellow, and that's a big chance now for Norway because they left that red that's just covering the outside edge of the yellow, so no chance to come on the counterclockwise handle to
C'est...
touch that yellow.
On va essayer.
And I guess Stefan will want to maybe get another one in behind that red.
Bien joué,
Løses
Sven,
at.
dommage.
Jeg tror det kan bli
Den er bra.
glattere etter en stein nå. Tight linje, tight linje,
Linja er
tight
grei.
linje.
Linja er fin, den. Ok. Her er bra. Må
All of
køle
the
litt her.
ends, all of the
Oh,
games out
forsiktig,
there
må
are
køle litt.
8-end games,
Ok, Markus spitt. Nei, det er greit.
and
Det er
if the
bra.
scores are
Linja
tied
bra.
after 8 ends, then we have one extra end.
John, John.
As we said before, not a very
Det var mye
popular
glattere her nå på andre siden.
outcome an extra end because we have a very
Ja,
tight
det
draw.
er
We have
så
5
mye mer enn det der.
draws,
Når du har
each
spilt
day.
en stein, så er det neste steinen.
so not too much
That's that
flexibility
blir
to
mye
accommodate too many extra ends.
Ouais.
Det føltes i hvert fall mye. Da.
Wow, wow.
Det kunne være litt høyere, tror jeg.
And this is good stuff from Norway. They just want to keep plugging away,
Ja, bare så han ikke får den.
protecting that yellow, putting that guard out, making Peter de Cruz's life a little bit difficult to try and remove it.
Jeg kan godt dra den hit liksom
I
mellom dem
think
da.
same idea.
Litt
Yeah,
forbi.
just where Torger is pointing his brush. That's exactly where we want the guard to end up, please.
Prøv å dra den litt forbi den øverste røde der.
And again, it's unlikely that that yellow is close enough to the centre that it will count for 1 point at the end. But Norway know that, and they don't mind too much. It's 2 each, the score, after 3 ends. And if Norway can just force Peter de Cruz's team to only take 1 point and give the hammer the last shot back to them, that's a good result for them. We can whip out one of our favourite tactical phrases, which is -1 at this end, is a good result for Norway.
Linja, grei, men litt plass.
Vente så lenge vi kan. Bare midt på senter er bra. Vi må midt på senter. Det er vi er midt på senter.
Oh.
Og det holder det.
So that's a little bit closer to the house than they wanted.
Non, mais de toute façon, on peut pas se faire voler.
And I'm not sure if there's a gap through there. No, I don't think there's any gap there. And this is exactly what they knew was going to happen anyway, so nothing to do with that front yellow there. Bannwart Schwarz is going to have to just come around the back of everything and outdraw it. But that's exactly what Norway were really hoping to force. And then wherever Schwarz's stone lands here, well, if they can rip it out, they probably will, and force them to do it again, or they may chase it in and really force Schwarz to draw the pin if he wants to get 2.
Ja, for han har blitt forsa snart.
We have a couple of questions in the chat about the ladies you may see floating around and hear them calling in the background, so we'll talk about that once we've seen the result of this end. Ooh! And that just edged that yellow already in the circles. But it's perfect weight, so you still can't really see it. So yeah, I don't think there's much chance to punch that red out. So Walstad's best idea is to play exactly the same shot that Bannwart Schwarz just played and make it really difficult for Peter de Cruz to try to score 2.
C'est bien payé, mais...
14-2 på den, kanskje jeg bomma. Ja. Da meldte den jo lang også. Den der satser med sånn.
Moi, je pensais qu'on allait genre faire un tap sur la garde. En plein.
Chance here for Stefan Walstad to make de Cruz's life quite awkward to try to get 2 points, and as we said, -1 for Norway is a happy result in this end. Then they will get last stone back for the loss of only 1 point. It sounds like Stefan wasn't too happy with it. No, they really need to curl that. So you can see second thrower Marcus Neuberg was sweeping that to try to make it curl.
14-3.
Sorry.
Sorry, Sir Stefan. Yeah, that's a disappointing result there. That just overthrew that. So that means actually it should be fairly routine for Schwarz to pick up 2 points here. That's a pity. That was a well-worked end from Norway. So you can see the same shot from Bannwart Schwarz. He may not even need that backing. In German we would call that a break stone, i.e. that yellow stone at the back there would act as a break if this red's coming in hot. It is a bit actually. I think it's all there by itself, the weight. But yeah, no mistake from Benny Schwartz, and a nice score of 2 there. So again, you can see just that one mistake opens the chance for 2.
Mais moi, j'ai une vessie de la taille de...
Det er den beste Huerlimann om dagen.
Je pense.
Ja, jeg tenkte på det etterpå. Ja, det gjør det.
Bien joué, Brian.
Ja. Så lenge du kommer på innsida på foran der, så er det jo kjempebra. Da fortsetter du. Ja, for jeg tenkte på det at du stjeler ikke på den der allikevel. Jeg er enig, vi skulle ha gjort bedre.
Halfway then, in our featured game here at the Baden Masters WCT event. The score is 4-2 to Peter de Cruz playing Stefan Walstad. So a little bit up and down, the form of the Norwegian team. Throwing some really nice shots, but making a couple of slips as well. So let's take a look at what's going on in the other games. On sheet number 1 next door, we have 2 Swiss teams. We have Team Huerlimann playing Team Pfister. And the score there is 2-1 to Team Pfister. They're just concluding their 4th end. And you may have caught sight of a lady playing for Team Huerlimann. Here she is, just on the left of our screen there. And that's not a ladies' team, don't get confused. We're going to chat about that in just a second. I think she's just a substitute in Team Huerlimann, so just helping them out today. We'll maybe get a chance to talk to her later. Then on the other side of our featured game, we have Team Totzek from Germany. They are playing Team Edin. We're practicing our Scandinavian words today. They're playing Team Edin from Sweden. And the score there is 3-1 after 3 ends to Edin. And here on the sheet in front of our commentary box, that's sheet number 4, we have the 3rd of our Norwegian teams here this weekend. That's Team Nedregotten. And they're playing Team Schori from Switzerland. And yeah, a couple of folks in the chat have already noticed that there are certain ladies teams floating around this weekend, and we can just talk a little bit about how that happened. So we did have a full roster for this competition. As I said, it's the first one of the new season. It's a lovely bright late summer day here in Switzerland, and I think all the teams enjoy coming here. And we had 3 or 4 Scottish teams who registered. They wanted to come and play, but there was a problem with getting their vaccinations in time, and unfortunately they were not able to travel after all. So again, the organisers thought, how can we find a top tier team that could fill the roster for this competition? And lucky for us, Anna Hasselborg's Olympic champions and Irene Schori's team, one of the top ladies teams in Switzerland, lucky for us, both of them said they would accept a place in the competition and put themselves out there. So that's how that came about. We're missing our teams from Scotland again this year, sadly. Big shout out to our Scottish teams. We really hope we can start watching them again soon. I was saying in the last game that there are several young, really talented men's teams coming up in Scotland now, and it's very frustrating that we haven't really got to watch them. We didn't get to watch them hardly last year, and unfortunately they're not here this weekend. But indeed, yeah, in the chat, somebody mentioned there's a competition in Stirling in a couple of weeks' time, and I know a lot of the top teams are going there. So yeah, they're travelling from Sweden. I know Van Dorp's team is going there as well. So hopefully that will kickstart our watching of curling for the Scottish teams again. And I'm going to keep mentioning it this weekend because I can't recommend it enough. If you missed the final game of the recent World Championships, That was Team Mawut from Scotland against Team Edin from Sweden. Don't think we're spoiling anything by saying that Team Edin did win out in the end, but go ahead and watch that. What a game, especially the first end. Because I'm a big old Mawut team fan. Not that we don't like to see Edin's team do well, of course we do, but there was a particularly bright start for the Scottish team, but they didn't have last stone in that first end. And Edin had to draw against 4 stones that were in the 4 foot. He didn't have any backing. And my goodness, that man was not for losing that day. So yeah, do go ahead and watch the gold medal match from the Men's World Championship. It's an absolute corker. And speaking of World Championships, Bob in the chat asks about if Silvana's team would be here. So Silvana Trimizzoni, also from Switzerland, they are now the double world champions. They won in 2019, and then of course we didn't have world championships in 2020, that had to cancel. But we managed to have world championships in the bubble in Canada before summer in March, April time, and Silvana Trimizzoni's team defended successfully their title, and they are now double world champions. And that was a very happy game to watch as well. I had my phone out to video Alena Petz's 3rd final shot for the World Championship, and this time she didn't even need it because they were so strong in that game. So that's a nice game to watch if you're a Trimizzoni fan. And actually, there was a possibility that Silvana's team would play here. If you were following us in the virtual club last year, you probably saw some of Silvana's team playing in Adelboden in the first edition of the Adelboden International last year. They performed really well. They only got knocked out with the last shot of the semi-final by that man in your picture, Benoit Schwartz. So they had a great performance in the Adelboden tournament, and there was a possibility that they would fill in for one of the Scottish teams here, but unfortunately Esther Neuerschwander picked up an injury to her foot or her ankle, I think, and sadly they had to pull out. So there was a possibility that we would have Silvana's team here. Didn't work out this time, but again, I think we're having a lot of fun watching the ladies' teams putting themselves out there. It takes good courage for the ladies to say yes to playing with all these top men's teams.
Sorry.
And I'm happy to tell you that not only are we cheering them on in this draw, but we shall be watching Irene Schori's team later on at the 6:30 draw this evening. They will play Team Totzek, the German team, and it was Team Totzek who suffered 2 defeats from Silvana Trimizzoni's team in Adelboden. They ended up playing them twice just because of the way the draw worked. They played them in the round robin and in the quarter-final, and yeah, poor old Team Totzek must be wondering what they've done to keep getting all the top ladies teams against them. So looking forward to that. And then we also have here Anna Hasselborg's team, the Olympic champions. They had a happy start this morning. They absolutely grabbed a victory from the jaws of defeat. They were behind for 123 out of 124 stones, and with Anna's last shot they picked up a big 3 in the 8th end, and the poor Czech team that they were playing didn't look like they quite knew what had hit them. So happy start for Team Hasselborg as well, and we will be following their game tomorrow at 4:15 European, and they'll be playing Yannick Schwaller, so that's a really tasty one for a Saturday afternoon.
Yep. Hard. Hard, hard, hard. Hard. Hard.
Greit. 11 blank. Sorry, Marcus.
If you want to say hi in the chat, if you want to let us know where you are, what you're doing, what your club is planning for this year, how have you been? We love to see it. I've got Irene's team right in front of our commentary box here, and they're a little bit confusingly, their uniforms are blue and yellow, which, as you know, is typically the colour of Sweden, so I need to concentrate that that's not Anna's team.
skal komme opp litt, men så...
On fera la pierre difficile si nécessaire.
Nei. Det er bare skje på der.
Don't worry, if you're in a different time zone, I know how tempting it is when there's live curling and you can join in. But if you're in a different time zone, don't worry. All of the games we're watching will be in the video vault for WCT TV YouTube channel. So you can catch up with all of them when we're asleep, perhaps in Europe. If you're supporting the ladies teams here this weekend, I can update you that in the second end, Irene Schori's team picked up 2 points, so they lead 2-1 going into the third end. And we're just getting towards the end of that third end. So back to our featured game here. We're halfway through our featured game. We're in the second half of the game now. And we're watching Team Walstad from Norway playing Team Cruz from Switzerland. So Cruz looking, for me, the more comfortable at the moment. They're kind of leaving the Norwegians to find the good shots and just keeping things pretty simple. That's good to see in the chat that several folks are saying that their club's going to be opening this winter. I know that some clubs couldn't open at all. My club here in Switzerland opened for a few months, but we had to abandon ship eventually before Christmas. So they're not quite finding the precision today, the Norwegians. Again, good effort from Torger, but just pops out the other side, and I think Bannwart Schwarz will be able to see at least half of that yellow stone. He won't be playing this too heavy. He wants his red stone to ideally hang around, and if he can just hit as much of that yellow as he can see, that's going to make Walstad's life quite difficult. There we are, just that nice gentle weight. And it does roll away. Less need for precision really from the Swiss because they're already +2. And that red in the centre there is still quite a danger. Stefan electing to draw around the back of everything. And we've seen how curly the ice is from the previous game. We've seen the Hoesli team doing this shot a few times in the previous game, so we know that line's there. Tournament ice really getting curlier and curlier.
Det ser ut som Altan bedre herifra, Torger.
Okay.
Jeg også var litt I tvil på om den kan henge på corneren. Ser bra ut det.
I can tell you what's coming up later today while Stefan's cleaning his stone. After this game, at the 4 o'clock draw, we'll be watching Team Van Dorp from Netherlands against Team Bannwart from Switzerland. That will be the featured game on sheet 2. And I will be recharging the chat batteries during that game for the game at 6:30 European. And that's Team Irene Schori against Team Totzek from Germany. So lots of fun stuff to come today. That's a lovely line from Stefan's shot. Is it going to hold up? I think he's just about got it. Yep. That's a yellow lying shot for me. And then there's even one more draw this evening. So actually both halves of the draw. Everybody has 3 games today. The last featured game today is Team Hess from Switzerland against Team Klima from the Czech Republic, who are still recovering from grabbing a defeat from the jaws of victory against Hasselborg this morning. But that will be time for my bedtime. And we'll be back tomorrow.
Ligne.
Ligne, ouais. Ligne, oui. Ouais, ouais.
I think Schwartz trying to just land up on the nose of that yellow. But I think that's coming up short. He might get a nice nudge on that red. That seems to have worked out quite nicely for a plan B. They're having a good look at it, yeah, I'm not sure which it is now. So that definitely that red on the forefoot, the blue circle, that's definitely first stone. But which one is second now? They're having a good look at it. Yeah, they didn't really deserve that in Horby. That was a bit of a missed stone from De Cruz, and now we may have got a handy second stone lying there. Again, first things first, that red stone on the forefoot has to move if we're going to score anything. And then it may be a measure for second stone.
Den her kvanten som Torger spilte, men han var jo 10-9 fikk jeg på hans sin da. Men det var jo det var litt sånn klassisk Torger under venstrøye også. Så jeg tror egentlig det er kontrollis på meg. Ja.
Ça je pense c'est le match fitness de la tête. On n'a pas regardé. J'ai 14 ans. Je suis sûr que c'est
Forsiktig. Rent.
Ja.
Ball.
Rent.
Markus. Markus.
Ja, kom Markus.
Markus.
Hard.
So I think they're trying to sweep that to get that stone to curl, just so it doesn't quite catch the back one. Well, there's no doubt now. That's one yellow stone and second stone is red. Now you just heard Torger say he thought that second stone was anyway red, but well, it certainly is now. So 1 point there, up on the scoreboard for Walstad. So they just need to keep plugging away here. They've got 3 ends left. They're only 1 point down. As I said, for me, I think De Cruz is looking the more comfortable here, but 3 ends to go. Plenty of stones left to play. And while they're all cleaning stones and setting up the 6th end, let's see what's going on elsewhere. So really tight game on sheet 1. There has been another blank end in the 4th end, so that score remains at 2-1 between Pfister and Huerlimann. Pfister winning that game just now. Next row on sheet 3. World champions Team Edin are turning the screw a bit here. It is 4-1 after 4 ends to Team Edin against Totzek. And on sheet 4, another tight game. It is 3-2 between Team Nedregotten of Norway and Team Schori of Switzerland. So Nedregotten 3-2 ahead after 3 ends. That game a little bit behind because of the extra end in the previous draw. All the games here are 8 ends, and if the score is tied after 8 ends, we play 1 extra end.
8-9. T-line. 10. Ouais, c'est bien vitesse. 9.
For fans of our ladies teams there, I can tell you where Hasselborg's team are playing next. They are on sheet 4, so you can watch that on the static cam at 4 o'clock, and they are playing Team Hess, the Swiss team, and they just had a handy win this morning over Team Schneider, Team Hess, so I think that will be a tough game for them as well, but that will be a fun watch too. So that's available on the static cam. Our feature game is always on sheet 2, and the static cam is always watching sheets 3 and 4. So Magnus Forberg Trulsen. Trulsen, also another very well-known name in Norwegian curling.
Bra. Bra kosta. Jeg trodde han skulle stoppe mye før. Jeg kan ta det, ja, altså.
And that's a nice throw from them.
Jeg hadde ikke fått ut den, hadde jeg?
Yeah, we're getting to the crunch part of this A10 game. We've got 3 ends left, including this one. I think Norway really have to go all out and be quite aggressive from here on, so that's why they've put up that centre guard. And Cruz isn't even waiting for the free guard zone to be over. He's going for the tick shot, and it looks like that's 2 really nice tick shots from Valentin Tanner. Tanner, for me, I would say one of, if not the best lead player in the world for me at the moment. But there's still plenty of stones out front. Marcus Højberg to hide behind. Stefan just going for the middle again. That's a good idea. And you'll see the stone placement is also really nice. It's just coming to a stop. There we are. And that stone placement, that's exactly where they wanted it, because if Peter de Cruz gets his angles wrong here, you can see there are plenty of stones around that he might ricochet off. If that yellow stone had been closer to the house, it was a much easier shot for Peter de Cruz, but he needs to be careful here that he doesn't start rattling stones around and springing them into the wrong place.
Oui. Ok, c'est bien. Nettoyer. Safe, safe, safe.
Bob in the chat asks a nice question. If, let's say, if Anna Hasselborg's team wins this competition, does she get the trophy and the prize money, or does it drop down to the top men's team? That's a fun question, Bob. I mean, certainly I've played in tournaments over the years where it has been the reverse, where you have an overall trophy and a trophy for the top women's team. So I would love it if we did that now in reverse, if Anna's team or Irene's team could pick up the trophy here, and then we have a top men's kind of consolation trophy there. I think what would happen is, I think they would get the trophy because they won this competition, and I suppose, I assume they would also get the prize money, but points-wise, I think that's where I am not too sure. I mean, clearly Anna's team and Irene's team, they're not registered for the men's WCT tour, right? So I don't think they can pick up points here. So I'm not quite sure how that would work, whether nobody would get the winner's points in terms of WCT, or whether everybody, would it go to the top men's team, the maximum points, as if that men's team had one. But yeah, I believe if either of the ladies' teams lifts the trophy, I believe their names will be on the trophy. They will get the prize money. But it just becomes a little bit more complicated regarding picking up points. But I certainly think that would be a very popular win. If any of our ladies' teams could get their name on the trophy. I know there's big support out there for the ladies' teams. People really admire that they put themselves out there on this men's stage. They're taking a big risk. It takes good courage to put themselves out there. And I know a lot of people appreciate that. And speaking of which, Irene's game just wrapping up their 4th end. They're a wee bitty behind, and it looks like Irene has a nice opportunity for a junior too. She has an open house to draw to the wing, and she has a nice shot already on the other wing. definitely a silver lining in the coronavirus cloud is getting these new matchups with our top ladies teams filling in some of the men's competitions. It's always fun to see new teams playing, or different teams playing, yeah. So I think all of the men's teams will be taking the ladies teams just as seriously. And back here in our featured game, they're rattling through quite quickly. They're in their 6th end, and de Cruz has last stone. He has the hammer, but just missed trying to corner freeze that shot and has now left it open.
Rent. Magnus gjør det klar. Magnus.
You can hear that Stefan's calling either one sweeper or the other, depending on whether they're trying to sweep it for curl or sweep it straight. That's a really nice controlled shot, nice team shot there. Really controlled way. And you heard Stefan calling Magnus specifically to sweep to try to get it to curl a little bit more. I'm not sure that intricate way of sweeping, I'm not sure that's really made it to the clubs yet, to be honest, that one can either sweep for curl or sweep to keep it straight. It's not straightforward, obviously, to use the same motion to do two completely opposite things. And I think you really have to know what you're doing to get that to work. So, second shot here for Sven Mikkel in the 6th end. Sven a strong hitter. And we had Valentin Tanner trying to sweep that to keep it straight, and now Bannwart Schwartz sweeping it across the house. So, pretty nice effort. Doesn't quite get the whole stone behind the cover there. And now Norway says, well, yeah, do they want to just punch that red through, or do they want to try and freeze on top of it? Remember, Norway's running out of ends a little bit. They're only one behind, but they're playing Peter de Cruz's team, the Olympic bronze medalists. And if you look at our programme, Sven Mikkel's photo, it's all over the place. So Sven has skipped a team as well. He's a very accomplished skip as well. And Team Sven Mikkel, they won this competition back-to-back in 2011 and in 2012. Although Sven himself is yet to win with Peter de Cruz. So Peter de Cruz's team, they have won this competition as well. They won in 2016. And that was before Sven joined their team. That was when their third player was Claudio Petz. So Sven would, I think, love to win this competition with his new team, or, well, newish team, not so new anymore.
Markus,
prøv! Hard, Markus! Hard! 9-7 av det.
Hvordan går det? Det er ballar.
Ah, le double. Oh, le double, je suis pas sûr qu'il est là. Non, il est même pas.
Could be that Walstad is accepting, let's say, he's a bit resigned to losing 1 point this end, but he wants to make sure they don't lose any more than that. So if they give up 1 point here, that would make the score 5-3. That's not the end of the world. They would get last one back. But they really can't afford to lose any more than that. If they lose any more than 1 more point to de Cruz, they're giving themselves a whole lot of work to do to get back in this game. So it could be that they're just leaving those yellows lying around, forcing Bannwart Schwartz to draw against something. 3 stones to come then in the 6th end in our featured game at the Baden Masters 21. First throw for 4th player Bannwart Schwartz.
Tar du Torgeir?
Again, similar situation that we saw in the second end. Those two yellows, there's not a really makeable double on for those, and Peter de Cruz knows that he's almost certainly being forced to score 1 point, so he may as well try and freeze that yellow shot there, freeze that with his red, make it difficult for Stefan to knock that red out, and maybe give himself the chance at 2. So Bob, you're quite right. Bob asks if this is the same Torgeir Nergård who has played with Thomas Olsrud. Yes, it is. So Stefan Walstad's team hoping to absorb all that experience that Torgeir brings to the team. And Team Olsrud, they have won this competition in 2008 and 2018. Oh, and in 2014. Excuse me. So that just shows you how consistent they were for such a long time at the top of the game. No trouble there for Stefan, nicely done. No double for Bannwart Schwartz, so mission accomplished for Norway here. Well, if they can't steal this end, then they don't want to lose more than 1, and no chance of that.
Litt på vei, og så setter jeg tilbake.
And that's right, of course, that famous Olsrud team, the Norwegian team, was 2 Olympics ago, I think. They were the team with the very famous fancy pants that everybody loved. They really got a lot of people watching curling, so I think we should all be thankful to, I think it was Christopher Sva who got the team pants. And we should all be thankful to them for bringing some fun and new viewers to curling. Me and Kirsty Balfour were doing the fancy pants thing back in junior curling in the 90s, but luckily no photos exist, I don't think. So no trouble there for Bannwart Schwartz. And the score after 6 ends in our featured game is 5-3.
Ja, vi tar han innan til han til slutt der. Ser ut som de spiller på det. Det sånn som innhavnen min en gang iblant, ikke hver gang, men noen ganger så innhavnen det sånn. Ja, køller det.
Our feature game here motoring along. They're ahead of everyone else, but we can check what's going on in the other games. On sheet 1, it is 3-1 in the game against Team Pfister and Team Huerlimann, so 3-1 to Team Pfister. In the neighbour rink on the other side, Team Totzek against Edin. Team Totzek picked up a big 2 in the 5th end. And that makes the score next door. It is 4-3 to Edin. They're playing their 6th end. And good news for fans of our ladies team, wishing them well this weekend. Irene Schori did indeed pick up her junior 2 in the 4th end of their game. They're a little bit behind because the previous draw overran. And looking quite handy here in this 5th end, so that is a score of 4-3 to Team Schori against Team Nedregotten from Norway. So 4 really tight games out there. That's what we expect at this competition. We will have a chance to watch Irene's team later this evening. In the 6:30 draw, they will play Team Totzek from Germany, who are putting up a good fight against Team Edin. And our other guest ladies team, Anna Hasselborg, we get to watch them tomorrow afternoon in the 4:15 draw, European time, and they play Yannick Schwaller. So a really tasty couple of draws coming up for them.
Jeg vet ikke, ja, men vi kan diskutere etterpå. For meg, jeg var enig med de, men ikke sånn her kjempeenig. Men de ville det begge to.
Ja, det er greit det.
Norway then have last stone again. They forced the Cruz into just only taking one. And they've put up a corner guard, nice aggressive start, but golly, look at the sweep from Bannwart Schwartz and Sven Michael. We said at the beginning of the game, all of these guys, and the ladies, they will all have been in the gym all summer. They'll have been building up their core strength, their upper body strength, plenty of cardio work for the endurance needed for these 2+ hour games. And it's no longer that you just kind of show up after work and throw some stones. No, it's much more structured, much more professional now. All of the countries here have ice all during summer as well. It used to be that everybody had a bit of a breather over summer, and then you tidy out the cellar, paint the fence, that sort of thing. Things that we don't have time to do during winter. But not so much anymore. Most of these guys are full-time, if not approaching full-time. And they'll be at the gym plenty to keep the fitness up. And as I said, all the countries here have summer ice now except for Netherlands. And I know they've been here in Switzerland for a few weeks using the summer ice here instead.
Alors rien. Si on est là, c'est très bien. On n'a pas besoin d'être caché. 13-8. N'importe où dans le 4 pieds, c'est bien. Ok. Poil vite. Poil
Jeg
vite.
liker egentlig å dra bak. Jeg har ikke lyst til å si noe hele tiden.
This familiar situation now that we're getting used to seeing in the 5-rock rule. We've got 2 corner guards and we have 3 opposition stones in the centre. And what you do, you've thrown up your corner guards for a reason, so you don't want to just let the Cruz rip them both off without trying to force them into a shot for it. That's always a nice shot, yeah. Let's just move stones around a little bit, not throwing the big peel weight. I'm not sure I like that idea so much.
Det er I hvert fall måten å dra det til på, tenker jeg.
But let's see how it works out. So I guess the idea is this stone from second thrower Marcus Neuberg. This goes around the back of the front 2 stones. And then what does Peter de Cruz do? Does he take off the corner guards or does he chase it in? So you can see Stefan's brush there. That's where they want this stone to land up. Oh, this is dropping way short. Oh, Marcus, that's not it. Oh dear. Well, it's ahead of tee, and you could still use that yellow to punch back onto the red, but I'm not sure you're going to get the chance to really do anything with it, sadly. Because now Peter de Cruz probably does want to start removing corner guards.
Il y a le jab. Je crois que tu dois venir là.
Jeg vet ikke. Jeg har ikke noe svar, Steffen.
Yeah, I think still I would take off this corner guard. I don't think that yellow is going to bother them too much, to be honest.
The
yellow in the rings there. Then again, this is a very aggressive team. In the round robin, we don't have a Van Dorp de Cruz matchup, but we got to see that game a couple of times last season, and that always has 16 stones in play every end. It's always really exciting because both of those teams not afraid to go out and play. So it looks like de Cruz is sticking with their aggressive tactics that work for them.
Sven, attention. Oui, oui. Oh. Ah, il y a de la place. Easy, easy, easy. 14, 1.
That's exactly where he said he wanted it, so big smile from Sven. So let's see how this plays out. So yeah, Norway happy to follow that one in. It could be that Peter was thinking, well, you know, we're quite nicely set up all in the middle here, and if we keep play towards the middle, Stefan has to do something about it before they score even 1 point, never mind 2. And he maybe can't afford to let too many stones build up while he's trying to draw to the wings. So on the other hand, I feel a little bit like Stefan's got sucked into their game now because he threw up 2 corner guards. He's not going to use either of them. That was, again, a nice try with that stone. And again, at your club, I would probably give that stone a nice smile there because, yeah, look how nicely set up that is. And for club curlers, yeah, I think that yellow's quite nicely in behind. Looking pretty safe, but not at this level. There's plenty of curl out there. We've seen how curly the ice is. And there's definitely space for Sven Michael to sink another red in on top of that yellow. And it's starting to look a bit like a mixed doubles end, where play is typically towards the middle. Yeah, you see it made it round that front yellow by nothing at all. And it has completely blocked up that shot from being attempted again. So yellow's lying, but it wouldn't take much to follow that red that Sven just played. If he played that on a big weight now, knocked his own red, he could easily punch that yellow out and leave himself flying maybe 5. So this better be good, Norway. Yeah, I think let's have a confab with Torger's experience. We need to make sure we're not losing a hatful here. Norway does have last shot, but running out of options of something useful to do with it at the moment. Certainly the counterclockwise handle's getting completely junked up out there. They've still got space on the clockwise handle, but I think they can see how dangerous that red that Sven just played. They can see how dangerous that is. If he just hits all he can see of it, then the yellow is going to squirt backwards and leave a hatful of reds in behind those centre guards.
Ja, det bare at du tapper jo bare den opp til
Vant da! Vant å spille rullen bak corneren.
Ja.
Du vant å rulle bare.
Hvor mye ser du, Torger?
70!
Ok.
2/3.
Sikt på tjukkhold med bestemt vant da.
Ok.
Halv tjukkhold.
Er det litt sneis, eller det er is i treff? Ok. Ja, greit. Gå for å holde da.
Ja, wow, rent. Linja bra, rent. Ja, hard.
Decision's been made then.
Hard. Hard, 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 hard. Hard.
This is a good shot. This is a nice idea.
Okay. 1-1.
Really nice shot there from Torger. You can see what that's done there. That's really blocked off that angle. Sven can't reach. Yeah, you can't see that stone that Sven just played now. You can't even try some circus shot of yellow onto red onto yellow because that angle's gone as well. So that was well worth having that discussion, and that's really nice result for Norway there. Really well played. As we said, clockwise handle still fully open. And I think De Cruz is now going to have to abandon counterclockwise handle. Yeah, I'm not quite sure how far he wants this one in. I wouldn't think he's calling for a guard, but maybe he's saying if it does drop short, let's drop it here. It sounds like they're calling it about T-line. As we said, they use the number system, this team, so they're calling it about 7-8, which is exactly T or a little bit over. Yeah, good call there from the sweepers. And what a shot from Sven. Wow. Getting awfully crowded in there, not much space for any more stones, but pretty difficult to move those stones around because of all the guards out front. Yeah, I think not much choice for Norway here. Yeah, they need to be quite precise with this weight. They're not going to move both of those. That red is in jail, as we see. So there's no moving that red that Sven just threw. With only one shot, you need at least 2 shots to move it. I think that's your only choice, Norway. Yeah. Again, even if Norway can only pick up 1 in the 7th end, it's not the end of the world, but they do need to score this end, so let's make sure of that.
Skal spille litt hardere da.
Hold den i gang.
Kjennes hard ut.
Hold den i gang, linja er bra.
Linja er gull.
Wow, plass. Magnus, Markus. Hard.
They're trying to sweep it for curl again there. You can see Marcus leaning kind of over the stone a bit. You can see how precise that shot had to be. It wasn't much overweight actually, but it was a little bit overthrown. And it just bounced away, and Switzerland can really shut the gate here and make Norway's life very difficult. So Bob, I can certainly answer your question about if Oscar Eriksson is playing with Team Edin. He is right in front of me. So yes, he is, at least for this weekend. But I don't know what his plans are for the mixed doubles. Certainly he's had plenty of success there as well, but he's definitely here this weekend.
Ja, du setter den dritbra. Den køla mer enn jeg forventet. Den køla mindre enn jeg forventet.
Yeah, I think Bannwart Schwartz will be trying to close off all the options here. He could put another one right in the centre, and I'm not sure how Norway would be able to move it. It's not their best game, this Norwegian team. I know they can play better than this, and they're really chasing the game a bit now. Yeah. Indeed. How do you start moving those reds around to clear yourself a space to even have a last shot?
Så går vel de, flytter vel den der seg I hvert fall bortover der. Den der kan spinne av. Men det ikke noe gimme der da, heller da.
Michaela has an interesting question in the chat about thoughts and reactions to the hat and socks action and accounts during the men's world. I must admit I missed all that. Indeed, I'm not on Twitter. Well, I look at Twitter, but I chiefly look at cat videos, to be honest. I must catch up with that, but certainly I do sometimes think the men could make better sock choices, let's say it that way. Or I would be cold if I played in these little socks that some of the men play in.
Yeah! Yep! Whoa! Yeah! Hard!
So, can Stefan spring himself a space here? Oh dear.
Hva spiller?
That about sums up their game today, unfortunately. They're just not quite finding the right places for their stones. They're not quite catching the right edges and angles. Oh dear. And I think this could be our final end here unless Chef Walstad can come up with a top drawer shot to get them out of this. I can't even see a shot for yellow coming at the moment. That's a pity.
Det var jævlig lite finish jeg fikk på den dragningen. Eller den tappen da.
Ja. Jeg prøvde å tenke på, men du har jo satt mye til seg andre steinene din, og det er jo de gangene du har kølet på første steinen din, så har det på en måte gitt mening, men jeg begynte å lure på om du kanskje har en første stein din kølet mer.
Hva vil du ikke, så?
Det var den du flashet med også.
Det var ikke bare en stein da.
Neida, det var ikke det.
Hvis han ikke hadde spilt nå da, hadde du hatt et slag for å gi bort bare en.
Ja, det er satt. Den ytterste corneren der. Ned på den steinen jeg prøvde å treffe nå.
Ja, hvis han ikke hadde satt den nå, så kunne du frys, kunne du kanskje, eller? Slått innsida av gul egen.
Ja. Eller kanskje jeg kan kjøre rekka.
Cruz's team is just how to most creatively and so destroyingly shut the gate. Nothing wrong with a guard here in my opinion. That's the European signal for a guard. I know that in Canada sometimes the signals are a little bit different.
Non, le run, avec la garde.
We had a Canadian English lady, Claire, who used to play in English curling. Her mummy was from England, so she had been living there for a while, and when we first played with her, we were confusing the poor lady right and left with our strange brush signals, which are different than Canadian curling.
Plutôt Val. C'est quand même large.
Well now, so red lying fully 3.
Har ikke noen andre forslag enn den, eller den?
Den tror jeg sier hvor Torstein på.
I think, yeah, maybe the only open path is to finally use one of those corner guards that they threw up right at the beginning of the end. I think maybe the one on the left of our screen is maybe an easier path, but I think there's too much behind, there's too much backing, there are too many stones behind that red in the centre. I'm just not sure how that red moves anywhere, to be honest. I think they're really all they can do is damage limitation. So I think I can't see any way to move that red in the centre. So I think they're definitely losing one. And they're looking at, can they somehow move either of those other two reds surrounding it? They seem to prefer the other corner guard.
80. 3/4 av 80. 75-80. Sikkert 0.
På guide.
3 nå snart.
Not quite sure what the decision is here. As I said, I don't see any way that centre red is moving. And presumably they're looking for plans how to restrict this to only 1 point. I think even if they just catch the edge of that yellow that we can see, I'm not sure if that... Oh, he is going for the corner guard, okay. Let's see if he can nudge a few things. Sounds like not. No, it didn't quite catch enough of the stone, and yeah, I think that's enough.
Good luck.
Yeah, they never quite found their rhythm there, Norway. So at least we can be back to handshakes, that's nice. Last year, I'm not even sure if we did fist bumps last year because we were being very cautious. I think folks hadn't yet been able to be vaccinated, that wasn't around, so at least these days we can go back to a handshake or a fist bump. We're still taking precautions here in Switzerland, so in an inside space, like in the club area, folks are typically still wearing a mask. And if you go to the superstore, the supermarket rather, or on the train or something like this, then everyone's still wearing a mask. But certainly much more, much less restricted rather than we were last year. So there was not really mixing of players and spectators last year. We didn't have too many spectators. We didn't want to encourage too many people to come to the club, and we can do that this year. Folks can come and watch. But yeah, we still have hand sanitizer on all the rinks, that sort of thing. We're still thankful to all the players travelling from all over Switzerland, as well as all of our foreign teams making the effort to come and travelling when it can be quite even just an administrative issue to travel in these days. But happy start there for the Cruz's weekend. They had a bye this morning and didn't play, and quite a comfortable win for me there. I think the Norwegians were hanging on for the first half, but didn't quite find their rhythm today. And what we're doing now is last shot draw for the next game. And as I said, it's not always the skip who throws, so Valentin Tanner is pretty consistent. There we are. He does a pretty good job of throwing T-weight as well. And you see that quite often. It makes a lot of sense to get your lead player to throw your last shot draw, because that's what they're doing time and time again during the game. I'd say, what, about 4 or 5 centimetres there? Pretty nice from Valentin. So bright start for the Cruz. And I can tell you who they're playing next. At the 6:30 draw, they are playing Team Magnusson from Sweden. And we'll be able to keep an eye on that. We will be watching Team Edin Schori against Team Totzek. We really rattled through that game, so all other games, the other 3 games, they're all still ongoing. They're all around their 6th or 7th end. On sheet 1, the score is 3 each between Team Huerlimann and Team Pfister. And Team Totzek got a 2 back in the 5th end, but Team Edin got 1 more point, so the score over there is 5-3 to Edin versus Totzek. And over on sheet 4, the game that's a little bit behind, they're on their 6th end, and the score is 4 each after 5 ends. That's the game with Edin Schori playing the 3rd Norwegian team, Team Nedregotten. That's good to hear, Bob, in the chat that he says WCT is making my weekend. That's great to hear. So we've got plenty more curling for everyone. The next featured game is the 4 o'clock draw, and then we will be watching the Van Dorp team against Bannwart, a Swiss team. Always lots of stones in play with Van Dorp's team from Netherlands. I will be recharging the chat batteries and coming back at 6:30, where our featured game will be Team Edin Schori against Team Totzek from Germany. And then, if you're really keen, there's a 6th draw this evening, and we will be watching Team Hess against Team Klima from the Czech Republic, who lost on the very last stone to Anna Hasselborg's team this morning, so they will be looking for a better result there. But that's very late for me, so I will be going home and going to bed to make sure I'm back bright and early for tomorrow. But do join us for the 6:30 game, where we will be chatting through again. And the 4 o'clock game coming up next is Van Dorp against Bannwart, and on this the static cam you can watch Team Klima against Team Schwaller. That's the first outing for Team Schwaller today. And you can also watch Team Hasselborg against Team Hess. So plenty more curling this afternoon. And join us back for 6:30. Bye for now.